Tank! Tank! Tank!
You hear as a car falls from the sky, blocking the road. You turn around to see a beast enraged and uncontrolled. These kinds of moments, they do inject fear, but it's okay because Luis has some
Pills here!
But how did we get here and how is Left 4 Dead so great? Just sit down, buckle up, and I'll tell you right out the gate. Left 4 Dead has a solid foundation with challenging and absorbing gameplay leading its direction. Gunplay feels great and sounds are crisp and clear. The balance is right, being playable even with guns on lower tiers. Movement is smooth and the map is easy to follow, like water on Swamp Fever, leading you so you don't end up lost and in sorrow. Its cooperative nature brings people closer together, and VAs were granted freedom which made them embody their character.
When all this is over, Bill, Zoe, I'm giving you both jobs. Francis, I'm gonna teach your ass how to read.
This made characters feel real and alive. I bet you even wanted to meet Keith, who once
screamed for an entire year every single time he opened his eyes.
All these and more makes for spectacular world building, and who can forget the Midnight Riders who gave it even more meaning.
We need to crank this shit up,
Meaningful, challenging and absorbing, with action as though you're in the front row. Not coincidentally, that's also the formula for being in a state of flow. The gameplay is top-notch, but that isn't the only thing that makes it so fine. Novelty is a core value built into the game by design. To keep things as fresh as a cabbage, there are other game modes like Versus, Survivor, Mutations and Scavenge. Though veterans might feel the infected look familiar and normal, don't let that fool you because there can actually be 24,000 variations on a single infected model. Nowadays, modern titles feature hits that you can pop like prunes, but back in 2009, they already featured location-specific wounds. But it's not just the game itself that made it special. It is also what was happening with the devs and the surrounding people.
The team all plays Left 4 Dead. We play with the community, we read the forums, we get all this feedback, and it's kind of like people who love Left 4 Dead, adding all the features that they've always wanted to see.
Turtle Rock Studios, the developers you see, was founded by Michael Booth right next to a tree. Despite humble beginnings, this was no ordinary guy, for he had experience in killing gamers while looking them in the eye.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
This love for strategy and first-person shooters ignited Mike, and his team decided to create a CS mod called Terror Strike. This would eventually birth the one and only Left 4 Dead 2, however back then they didn't really have a clue. It was also here that they shifted from PvP to PvE, and things started to get more and more eerie, you see. After a joint venture, they would be collecting tips from this
one-man cheeseburger apocalypse.
The games they made afterwards, were they good? That could be debated, but one thing's for sure, the magic could not be replicated. Evolve introduced a new asymmetric theory, but in practice, disengagement was the focus, which made the experience weary. There were also a couple of management overhauls, with support for the game ending not once but twice overall. Corporate greed also played a part to bring this game down, which I believe had heart.
I will not let you down.
Good.
We'll nuke the monster till it glows, and then we'll fuck it in the dark!
Back 4 Blood then soon became available, but was plagued with bugs on launch that made it literally unplayable. It was also much more complicated than Left 4 Dead 2, where all you had to do was just to point and shoot. In all honesty, it's not a bad game for its price range, but the larger ecosystem surrounding it had begun to change. Influencers, oh influencers, they did compare the early stages of Back 4 Blood to a mature Left 4 Dead, which might not have been fair. As the hate for it grew, the devs began to cry, for they couldn't understand why it was hated as much as the church guy. This bandwagon effect is a big thing online, which was not as prominent back in 2009. Although it tried to recover, the market had already left its mark, not to mention people will always compare it to Left 4 Dead's Ark. Nowadays, it's not only making a good game that's hard, its success also depends on market forces which might tear it apart. For Left 4 Dead 2, it wasn't something to launch and forget. A solid foundation made investors support it without breaking a sweat. With a strong IP, Valve's confidence in it skyrocketed non-stop, and in 2013 we saw the birth of Left 4 Dead's Steam Workshop. This continuous stream of new content made it infinitely more replayable, and as of 2023, the player base is still strong and stable. Left 4 Dead never took itself too seriously, giving light to moments like Whitaker's Cola, And what is that, Bill?
I am seriously FUBAR.
Devs, businessmen, and users coming together, creating something so special that would last forever. But dynamics in the larger ecosystem also played a role in bringing this gift to the masses and reaching our souls. The cosmos aligned, turning us into fans true and blue, and that is also why there will never ever be another game like Left 4 Dead 2.